Hello, everybody. All right, so today we're going to start chapter 2, and we're going to be working on division. And so, our first lesson, place the first digit, it's actually a review of the fourth grade material. And so, we're on page 63 of the fifth grade Go Math book. And the essential question today is how can you tell where to place the first digit of a quotient without dividing? How do we know where to put the first number in the quotient? All right, so let's look at the unlock the problem. Tania has 8 purple daisies. In all, she counts 128 petals on her flowers. If each flower has the same number of petals, how many petals are on one flower? So, underline the sentence that tells you what you're trying to find. Well, that's the question, right? So, how many petals are on one flower? Circle the numbers we need to use. Well, she has 8 purple daisies and she has 128 petals total. How will we use these numbers to solve the problem? Well, we have 128 total petals shared amongst 8 daisies. So we're going to divide 128 by 8. All right, so step 1, use an estimate to place the first digit in the quotient. So if we were estimating this problem, we'd want a multiple of 8 that would be easy to divide. So we know 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, so on. So um, we wouldn't want to round this down to 80, but let's round up to 160. So again, this is just an estimate. So 160 divide by 8. 8 times what is 16? 8 times 2 is 16. So where would could we share the 100 into 8 groups? No, but we could share 1600 into 8 groups. So the first digit of the quotient will be in the tens place. I think I misspoke. We cannot share 100 equally among 8 groups, but we can share 16 tens in around 8 groups. All right, so the first digit has to be put in the tens place. And we see that here. So we're going to divide the tens first. So divide 12 tens, because again, we can't share 100 in 8 groups. So 12 tens divide by 8. How many 8s can we share with 12? 1. I can share 8 times 110. I'm going to put 110 in each of those 8 groups. So 8 times 1 is 8. 8 tens. So subtract 12 tens and 8 tens. 8, 12 take away 8 is 4. Can you share 4 tens with 8 groups equally? No, you can't because the divisor is bigger than what we're left with. All right, so let's regroup any tens that are left as ones. And then we're going to divide the ones. So here we have 8 times 1, right? 8 times 1, 10, which left us 4 tens. We're going to trade that for 48 ones. Okay, so we had 8 ones left, and we're going to trade the 4 tens for 48 ones. So 8 times 6 ones is 48 ones. 8 times 6 is 48 ones. So we're going to subtract 48 ones from 48 ones. That leaves us 0. 0 ones cannot be shared among 8 groups. There's nothing left. So there are 16 petals per flower. And is our answer reasonable? Yeah, 16 is close to 20. All right. All right, let's just keep going. Page 64. All right, so over here on the remember box, it says remember to estimate the quotient first. Now, why do we want to do that? Because it helps us decide quickly where our first place value or in the quotient will be. So 4,236 is close to 4,000. So 5 times what is 40? 8, right? So we're going to have 800. Now, how is that helpful? Well, we notice that we can't share 4,000s equally on 5 groups, but I can share 40 hundreds. So my first place value is in the hundreds. So look at the thousands. 4,000s cannot be shared among 5 groups without regrouping. So let's look at the hundreds. There are 42 hundreds because 4,200 is the same as 42 hundreds. So the first digit is in the hundreds place. So we're going to divide 42 hundreds into 5 groups. So 5 times 8 would give us 40 hundreds. And 42 hundreds, take away 40 hundreds, leaves us 2 hundreds. So is that, we're going to check to see if we could have taken a larger number from, or put a larger number into each group. And we can't because 200s can't be shared equally amongst 5 groups. So let's move to the next step. We're going to now divide by the tens. Okay, so we have 2 tens left. Two hundreds left. We're going to bring down the 3 tens and trade the 200s for 20 tens. So we have 23 tens. Divide by 5 groups. Well, 5 times 4 tens is 20 tens. So we're going to subtract 20 from 23. 23 tens, take away 20 tens, will leave us with 3 tens. So we're going to check that, and 3 tens cannot be shared equally among 5 groups without regrouping. So we're going to take those 3 extra tens that are left, and we're going to regroup them as ones. So we know that 3 tens is worth 30 ones. There are 6 ones in the problem, so we're going to bring down the 6 ones, and we have 36 ones divided into 5 groups. 5 times 7 is the closest I can get. So 5 times 7 ones is 35 ones. We're going to subtract those 35 ones from the 36 ones. Which leaves us 1, 1. 1, 1 cannot be shared equally among 5 groups. So our answer to this problem is 847 with a remainder of 1. And how do we know if our answer is reasonable? Well, we said our estimate was 800. 800 is close to 847, so our answer is reasonable. All right, so let's continue with our share and show problems. Number 1. All right, so let's estimate first. 579, that's close to 600, right? So 600 divided by 3. Well, 3 times what is 6? 2. So 200. So when we look at that, can we share 3? Can we share 500s equally among 3 groups? Sure. So our first number has to be in the hundreds in the quotient. All right, so divide 5 by 3. Divide 500s by 3, which would be 100 in each group. Multiply. 3 times 100 is 300. Subtract 500 and 300. That would leave us 200. 2 cannot be shared equally among 3 groups. So we're going to regroup the 200s as 10s. And we already have 7 10s. So we now have 27 10s. So divide 27 10s by 3. Well, 3 times 10 is 30. So 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 9 is 27. Subtract 27 10s from 27 10s. We get 0 10s left. Well, clearly we can't share 0 with 3 groups. So only thing we have left now are 9 1s. 9 1s divided by 3 groups. I'd put 3 1s in each group. 3 times 3 is 9 1s. 9 1s take away 9 1s is 0. So our answer, our quotient is 193, and that's reasonable. Our estimate was 200. All right, number 2, 1,035. Well, that's close to 1,000, right? 1,000 divided by 5. Well, let's just look at the basic fact. 10 divided by 5. It's 2. So we're going to say 200 again. So when we look at the thousands place, 1,000, 1,000 cannot be shared equally among 5 groups. So we can regroup that 1,000 as 10 hundreds. Well, I can share 10 hundreds among 5 groups 2 times. 5 times 2 hundreds is 10 hundreds. 10 hundreds take away 10 hundreds is 0. So now we're going to move to the tens. 3 tens cannot be shared among 5 groups. So we're going to regroup the 3 tens as 1s. But I have to show that I couldn't share the 3 tens because the divisor is bigger than the 3 that's in the dividend. So we're going to put 0 there. So 5 times 0 is 0. Subtract, we're left with 3 tens. And we already said we can't share 3 tens among 5 groups. So we're going to trade those 3 tens for 30 ones and bring down the other 5 ones. All right, so now we have 35 ones divided by 5. That's 7. 5 times 7 is 35. Subtract, we get 0. 207 is close to our estimate. All right, number 3. 1,766 divided by 8. Now, I don't want to round this one to 2,000 because 20 divided by 8 is not a basic math fact. So we have 8, 16, 24. So we can either round it to 1,600 or 2,400. I think I'm going to go ahead and go 1,600. Again, this is just an estimate, right? So I know that my estimate is going to be a little lower than the actual quotient. 8 times 2 is 16. So again, our estimate is 200. Our answer should be greater than 200. All right, I can't share 1,000 with 8 groups. But I can share 1,700s with 8 groups. So 8 times 200s is 1,600s. Subtract, we get 100 left. I can't share 100 with 8 groups, so let's trade that for 10 tens. And we already had 6 tens. So now we have 16 tens divided by 8. 16 tens divided by 8. Well, that's 2. 8 times 2 is 16 tens. We're left with 0 tens. Well, clearly you can't share 0 with 8 groups. So the only thing we have left is the 6 ones. But I can't share 6 with 8 groups. So I'm going to put a 0. And 8 times 0 is 0. So we're left with 6. There are no more numbers to bring down. So this answer is 220 with a remainder of 6. Okay? And 220 is close to 200. All right, number 4. 275 divided by 8. All right, so again, let's look at our multiples of 8. 8, 16, 24, 32. I'm going to use 240 as my estimate. Again, I'm finding a multiple of 8. So I'm changing 275 to a multiple of 8. 24 divided by 8 is 3. So 30. Our answer should be about 30. And this tells me or shows me that my first number is going to be in the tens. I can't share 200s with 8 groups. So I'm going to trade the 200s for 27 tens. And 8 times 3 is 24. And that leaves me 3 tens. I can't share 3 tens with 8 groups. So I'm going to regroup those 3 tens as 30 ones. And I'm going to bring down the other 5 ones. And we have 35 ones divided by 8. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. So that's as close as I can get to 35 without going over. Subtract, I'm left with 3 ones. There are no more numbers to bring down, and 3 cannot be shared. 3 ones cannot be shared with 8 groups. So we have 34, remainder 3. Is that answer reasonable? Well, our estimate was 30. So yeah, 34 is close to 30. All right, number 5. 468. So we need multiples of 3, correct? So 300, 600, 900, but 900 is way, way. I'm going to use 300. You can use 600. 600, but I'm going to use 300. And 3 divided by 3 is 1, so 300 divided by 3 is 100. So that tells me that I can share 400s with 3. 400s with 3 groups would be 1. I put 100 in each of the groups. So 3 times 100 is 300. So I'm left with 100, which can't be shared with 3 groups. So I'm going to trade that for 10 tens. I'm going to bring down the 6 tens. 16 tens divide by 3. No, that's 5 tens. 3 times 5 tens is 15 tens. Subtract, I get 110 left, which I can't share with 3 groups. So I'm going to trade that 110 for 10 ones. I'm going to bring down the other 8 ones I already have. So 18 ones divide by 3. Well, 3 times 6 ones is 18. Subtract, you get 0. Okay, so 156, that's fairly close to 100. And our other choice was 600 divided by 3, so 200. So rounding up to 600 would have gotten us closer. So, but it's just an estimate. So if we had done this, we would have had an estimate of 200. So we knew our answer has to be between 100 and 200, which it is. Okay. All right, number 6, 3,220 divided by 4. Well, 32 is a multiple of 4. So I'm just going to change this to 3,200 divided by 4. And 32 divided by 4 is 8, so 800. So I'm not going to be able to share the 3,000s with 4 groups. So I'm going to trade that for 32 hundreds. 32 hundreds divided by 4 is 8 hundreds. 4 times 8 hundreds is 32 hundreds, which leaves me 0 hundreds. Clearly, I can't share 0 with 4 groups. So I'm going to bring down my 2 tens. I can't share 2 tens equally with 4 groups. So I have to show that 4 times 0 is 0. So I still have my 2 tens that I can't share. So I need to regroup the 2 tens as 21s. And there are no other ones in the problem, so just 20. 21s divided by 4 is 5 ones. 4 times 5 ones is 21s. Subtract, we get 0. 805 is close to the estimate of 800. Number 7, 618 divided by 6. Well, 6 is a multiple of 6. So we're just going to say 600 divided by 6. And that would be 100. 6 times 1 is 6, so 100. So I will be able to share into the hundreds. So 600s divided by 6 groups is 100 in each group. Subtract, we're left with 0 hundreds. You can't share 0 hundreds with 6, so we're ready to move down to the tens. 1. I have 110, and I'm sharing it with 6 groups. It's not possible. So I'm going to put 0 tens into each group, and 6 times 0 tens is 0 tens. So I'm going to trade the 110 that's left for 10 ones and bring down the other 8 ones. 18 ones divided by 6. 6 times 3 is 18. So 18 ones, take away 18 ones is 0. So 103, which is close to our estimate of 100. Number 8, 716 divided by 4. 4, 8, 12. Okay, so 8, the basic math fact, 8 divided by 4 is the closest to 700. So we're going to go 800 divided by 4. 4 times 2 is 8, so 800 divided by 4 is 200. Okay, so since my estimate is 200, my first digit is going to be in the hundreds. 700 shared equally with 4 groups? Well, I can put 100 in each group. That leaves me 300, which can't be shared with the 4 groups. So we're going to trade that for 3 tens, which would be 30, 1 tens. So 300s is 30 tens plus the 110 that was already in the problem. 31 divided by 4 is 7, because 4 times 8 is 32. So 4 times 7 tens is 28 tens. I can't take 8 from 1, so I'm going to regroup as 2 tens and 10 ones. So 11 take away 8 is 3. So we have 3 tens left. 3 tens can't be shared with 4 groups. So I'm going to trade the 3 tens for 30 ones and bring down the 6 ones that we already had. So 36 ones divided by 4. 4 times 10 is 40. So 4 times 9 is 36 ones. That leaves me 0. And I can't share 0 with 4 groups. So my answer is 179. That's reasonable. We said our estimate is going to be about 200. Okay, and we rounded this number up, so it should be less. All right, 1,157 divide by 9. Well, let's look at our factors of 9. 9, 18. Well, that would be increasing the problem by 700, right? Maybe it'd be better just to make this 900 divide by 9. Again, we're changing the dividend to a number that has that would be a multiple of the divisor. All right, so 900 divided by 9 is 100. So we're looking at an answer somewhere around 100. You'll notice that since the answer is 100, my first digit will be in the hundreds place. So I can't share 1,000 with 9 groups. So I'll trade the 1,000 for 10 tens. So now we have 11 tens. I can share 11 tens with 9 groups one time. 9 times 110 is 9 tens. Subtract, we get 2. 11 take away 9 is 2, right? So we're left with 2 tens, which can't be 2 hundreds, which can't be shared with 9 groups. So we're going to trade the 2 hundreds for 20 tens and bring down the other 5 tens that we already have. So 25 tens divided by 9. That's 2, right? 9 times 2 tens is 18 tens. Subtract, we get 7 tens left. 7 tens can't be shared with 9 groups. So let's trade the 7 tens that are left for 70 ones and bring down the other 7 ones that we already have. So 77 ones divide by 9. Well, the closer we can get is 9 times 8, 72. So 9 times 8 ones is 72 ones. Subtract, we get 5 left. You can't share 5 with 9 groups. There are no other digits to bring down, so we have a remainder of 5. So 128, remainder 5. And 128 is close to 100. Number 10, 6,827. Well, that's nice. 6,000 divided by 6. Right? 6 is a multiple of 6. So 6 times 1,000 is 6,000. So our first digit is going to be in the thousands place. 6 thousands divided by 6 is 1,000. 6 times 1,000 is 6,000. Subtract, we get 0 thousands left. We can't share 0 with 6 groups, so we now move on to the hundreds. Can I share 8 hundreds with 6 groups? Yeah, one time. 6 times 100 is 600. Subtract, I get 2 hundreds. left. I can't share those 200s with 6 groups equally, so I'm going to trade the 200s for 20 10s and bring down the 2 10s that are already there. So we have 22 10s, divide by 6. 6 times 3 10s is the closest I can get. 6 times 3 10s is 18 10s. That leaves us with 4 10s. 4 10s can't be shared with 6 groups equally, so I'm going to trade those for 41s and bring down the other 7 ones. 47 divided by 6. The closest I can get is 7 times 6, which would be 42 ones. When I subtract, I get 5 left, and 5 can't be shared with 6 groups. So 1,137, remainder 5. Number 11. So 8,523, we want a multiple of 7. Well, 7, 14. Wow, if we change this to 14,000, that's almost twice that, right? We better round down to 7,000 or change it to the 7,000. Okay. So 7,000 divided by 7 is 1,000. So our first digit in the quotient will be placed in the thousands place. 8,000 divided by 7 is 1. 7 times 1,000 is 7,000, leaving us 1,000 when we subtract. 1,000 can't be shared with 7 groups, so we're going to trade that for 10 hundreds, and we're going to bring down the 500s that are already there. 15 hundreds divided by 7. 7, 14, 21. So 7 times 2 is the closest you can get. Subtract, we're left with 100. 100 can't be shared with 7 groups. So trade the 100 for 10 10s and bring down the 2 10s. 12 10s divided by 7 is 110 in each group. 7 times 1 is 7 10s. Subtract, we're left with 5 10s. 5 10s can't be shared with 7 groups. So trade that for 51s and bring down the 3 ones. 53 divided by 7. Well, 7 times 8 is 56, so 7 times 7 is the closest. 7 times 7 ones is 49 ones. Subtract, we're left with 4. Again, there's no numbers to bring down, and 4 can't be shared with 7. So 1,217, remainder 4. That's reasonable because 1,217 is close to 1,000. All right, so the next part, we want to have some scratch paper, and we're going to solve these problems on a piece of paper. Okay, so copy and solve, because there's clearly not enough room here to solve that problem. So number 12, 645 divided by 8. All right, well, 64 is a factor, or is a multiple of 8, right? 8 times 8. So my estimate will be 640 divided by 8. 8 times 8 is 64, so 640 divided by 8 is 80. So that means I won't be able to place a digit in the hundreds place. So let's take the 600s and make them 60 10s plus the 4 10s. So we're going to say this is 64 10s. 6400 is 64 10s. Sorry, 640 is 64 10s. So 8 times 8 is 64. So 64 10s, take away 64 10s is 0. Can't share 0 with 8 groups, so let's bring down the 5 ones. 5 ones cannot be shared equally amongst 8 groups, so we're going to say that's 0. 8 times 0 is 0, and we're left with 5. So 80, remainder 5. 13. 942 divided by 6. All right, we want multiples of 6 for our estimate. So 600, 1200, let's go with 1200. 1200 divided by 6. The reason I said 1200 instead of 600 is 940 is closer to 1200 than it would be to 600. Only slightly, but it is closer. All right, so 6 times what is 12? 2. So our estimate is 200. 6 times 900s divided by 6 groups. Well, I can put 100 in each group. Leaves me 300s. Let's trade those for 30 tens. Bring down the 4 tens. 34 tens divided by 6 is 5 tens. 6 times 5 tens is 30, leaving me 4 tens. Trade the 4 tens for 41s and bring down the 2 ones. 42 ones divided by 6 is 7. 6 times 7 ones is 42 ones with nothing left over. So our answer is 157. And that is relatively close to 200. All right, 14. 723 divided by 7. All right, so estimate. 7 is a multiple of 7, so let's just leave it as 700 divided by 7. That's 100. All right, so how many 700s can be shared with 7 groups? 1. 7 times 100 is 700. We have no hundreds left, and you can't share 0 with 7 groups. So let's now look at the 2 tens. Well, 2 tens can't be shared with 7 groups, so we're going to put a 0 in the quotient. 7 times 0 is 0. So we're going to trade the 2 tens that are left for 21s and bring down the 3 ones that we already have. So 23 ones divided by 7. 7, 14, 21, 28. 28 is too big, so 3. 7 times 3 ones is 21 ones. Subtract, we're left with 2 ones. There are no other numbers to bring down, so 2 ones can't be shared with 7, so it's 103, remainder 2. And 103 is close to my estimate, so my answer is reasonable. 15. 3,478 divided by 9. 3,478 divided by 9. All right, so 9, 18, 27, 36. So let's change 3,478 to 3,600. That's going to be our estimate for number 15. Well, 9 times what is 36? 4, right? And it's followed by 2 zeros. So 400. So our first digit is going to be in the hundreds place. So 3,000 can't be shared with 9 groups. So we're going to trade the 3,000s for 30 tens. So we have 30 hundreds. So we have now a total of 34 hundreds divided by 9. That would be 3. 9 times 3 hundreds would be 27 hundreds. subtract, we're going to be left with 700s. I can't share 700s with 9 groups, so let's trade those 700s for 70 10s and bring down the other 7 10s. So 77 10s divided by 9, closest we can get is 8. 9 times 8 10s, 72 10s, with a remainder of, or we're left with 5 10s, which can't be shared with 9 groups. So let's trade the 5 10s for 50 ones, and there are 8 ones already in the problem. So 58 ones. 58 ones divided by 9, closest I can get is 54 ones. 9 times 6 ones is 54. Subtract, we're left with 4. There are no other numbers to bring down. You can't share 4 equally among 9 groups, so 386, remainder 4. All right, 16. 3,214 divided by 5. All right, so multiples of 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. I'm going to say 3,000 divided by 5. So 5 times 6 is 30. So I would expect my answer to be about 600. So the first digit is going to be in the hundreds place. So 32 hundreds divided by 5 is 6 hundredths. 32 hundredths, take away 30, leaves me 2 hundredths. I can't share that with 5 groups. So I'm now going to bring down the 110. So I have 21 tens divided by 5 gives me 4 tens. 5 times 4 tens is 20 tens. The one remaining 10 can't be shared with 5 groups, so I'm going to turn that into 10 ones. And 14 ones divided by 5 is 2. And 5 times 2 ones is 10 ones. Subtract, we get 4. So 642, remainder 4. 17. 492 divided by 4. 492 divided by 4. Well, 4 is a multiple of 4, so let's just keep it 400 divided by 4. 4 times 1 is 4. So 400 divided by 4 is 100. Well, that's our estimate for 17, right? So how many 400s can I take from 4 put into 4 groups? 100 each. So 4 times 100 is 400. Subtract, I get no hundreds left. So let's bring down the 9 tens. 9 tens divided by 4 groups is 2 tens in each group. 4 times 2 tens is 8 tens. Subtract, we're left with 110. We're going to trade that 110 for 10 ones. So we have 12 ones divided by 4. 3. 4 times 3 ones is 12. So we get an answer of 123. That's reasonable. We're close to 100. Number 18. 2,403 divided by 9. All right, so 9, 18, 27. Let's change 2403 to 2,700 and divide it by 9. Again, I'm just wanting multiples of 9 to get an estimate. 9 times 3 is 27. So 2,700 divided by 9 is 300. So my first digit is going to be in the hundreds place. 24 hundreds divided by 9 is 2. With a remainder of, and we have 6 hundreds left. So we're going to change that to 60 tens. And there weren't any tens already in the problem. So 60 tens divided by 9 9 times 7 is 63, so 9 times 6. Okay, so 60 take away 54 is 6 tens left. I'm going to trade those 6 tens that are left for 60 ones. And 63 ones divided by 9 is 7. 9 times 7 ones is 63 ones. Nothing left over. 267. 19. 2,205 divided by 6. 2,205 divided by 6. So the multiples of 6. 6, 12, 18, 24. 24 is closest to 22. So let's change this to 2,400 divided by 6. So 6 times what is 24? 4. So 2,400 divided by 6 is 400. All right, so that means our first digit is going to be in the hundreds place. 22 hundreds divided by 6. The closest I can get is 300s. So 6 times 300 is 1800s. Subtract that leaves me 400s. Turn those into 40 tens. Bring down the other tens, which there weren't any. So 40 tens divided by 6. Closest I can get is 36. So 6 times 6 tens is 36 tens. Subtract, we're left with 4 tens. Trade those 4 tens for 40 ones and bring down the other ones. 45 ones divided by 6. 6 times 7 is 42. That's the closest we can get to 45. Subtract 45 ones from 42 ones. We're left with 3 ones. There aren't any other numbers to bring down. 3 is smaller than the divisor, so we have a remainder of 3. So 367 is fairly close to 400. All right, number 20. Will the first digit of the quotient 2,589 divided by 4 be in the hundreds or the thousands place? Explain how you can decide without finding the quotient. All right, so I know that when I look at 2,000s, that can't be shared with 4 groups. So it's going to be in the hundreds place. Okay, so if I can't share 2,000s into 4 groups, right? You have a 1,000 and a 1,000. You have 4 groups. I can't put a whole 1,000 in each of those groups. So we would look at that as not 2,000, but as 2,500s. And 2,500s can be shared equally among 4 groups. 21. So interpret a result. Rosa has a garden divided into sections. She has 125 daisy plants. If she plants an equal number of the daisy plants in each of 3 sections, how many daisy plants will be in each section? How many daisy plants will be left over? All right, so what information will we use to solve the problem? Well, we know she has 125 plants total. She has 3 sections. So I need to use that she has the number of daisy plants. and the number of sections. How will you use division to find the number of daisy plants left over? Divide the number of daisy plants by the number of sections to see if there's a remainder. So how will you use division to find the number of daisy plants left over? Well, we have to divide the number of daisy plants, 125, by the number of sections, 3, to see if there's going to be a remainder. So let's go ahead and show the steps you use to solve the problem. And so they're saying use the estimate 120 divided by 3. And that makes sense because 12 is a multiple of 3. So 3 times 4 is 12. So 120 divided by 3 would be 40. All right, so now let's actually divide it. So we have 125 divided by 3. Based on our estimate, we know our first digit is going to be in the tens. So I can't share 100 with 3 groups. So let's rewrite that or think of that as 12 tens. 12 tens divided by 3 is 4 tens. 3 times 4 tens is 12 tens. We subtract, we get 0 tens left. So we have 5 ones left that we have to share. And 5 ones with 3 groups would be 1 1 in each group. 3 times 1 is 3 ones. And we have 2 left over. There's no other numbers to bring down, and the 2 is less than the divisor 3. So that is a remainder. So she has 125 daisy plants. She puts an equal number in each of 3 sections. Each section has 41 plants, and she has 2 daisy plants left over. All right, 22. One case can hold 3 boxes. Each box can hold 3 binders. How many cases are needed to hold 126 binders? Well, let's see. Let me see if I can draw this to make sure I understand. So if that's my case, each case can hold 3 boxes. Each box can hold 3 binders. How many cases are needed for 126 binders? So every case equals 9 binders, right? Because every case has 3 boxes, and in each box is 3 binders. So 9 boxes, 9 binders per case. So we're going to divide 126 by 9. Well, we might as well keep going with our estimate. I'm going to change 126 to 90 and divide by 9. 90 divided by 9, that's 10. So I'm going to have my answer about 10 cases. Right, so my first digit is going to be in the tens place. So 12 tens divided by 9 is 110. Subtract, we're remainder of 3 tens, which can't be shared amongst 9 groups. 3 tens can be changed to 30 ones and bring down the 6 ones we already have. 36 ones divided by 9 is 4 ones. 9 times 4 ones is 36 ones. We get nothing left over. So 14 cases. And 23. For the numbers 23A and 23B, choose yes or no to indicate whether the first digit of the quotient is in the hundreds place. All right. 23 groups, and you have 1,000. No, it's not possible. To indicate whether the first digit is in the hundreds place. Oh, in the hundreds place. So 1,500s divided by 23. No, 23 is bigger than 15. So this one would actually have to go 152 tens divided by 23. So no. All right. 23 divide by 9 groups. Yeah, I can share 200s in each. Okay. 2300s is bigger than 9, so yes, that would work. All right, so that's it for this lesson. In our next session, we will be dividing by one-digit divisors. So until then, I will see you soon.